Hey there, it's Steve from Seared Keto, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the 2-ingredient sauce that will elevate pretty much any protein or vegetables to gourmet levels. We're making Beurre Monté. Beurre Monté is a French sauce. It means mounted butter. And there are only 2 ingredients, water and butter. Now you may be asking yourself, how can this be? How can this work? And I'm going to show you in just a minute. But let me tell you, this is so incredibly easy. I think it takes about 3 to 4 minutes is all to make. You can hold the sauce for hours, and it's pretty much infinitely customizable depending on what you're going to serve it with. In this video, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that I've made it. One version, kind of a citrus, spicy version to go with some seared scallops, and the other sort of a mushroom, truffle, garlic version to go with some medallions of filet. Let's start with the scallops. When preparing scallops, I start by removing this rectangular side muscle here. It's kind of chewy, and the grain on it runs perpendicular to the grain on the main scallop, so you're going to get a far better texture by removing them. I'll probably feed them to my cat. Now don't be alarmed if you don't find one on every scallop. Sometimes they just fall off on their own. Then I'm going to pat my scallops dry, give them a little sprinkle of salt, and a few grates of fresh pepper. Then I'm going to start getting my sauce ready by prepping my butter. I have 1 stick of butter here, that's 8 tablespoons, and I'm going to slice it into 8 pieces. And I'll take it over to my stovetop where I've got the other main ingredient to Beurre Monté, water, 3 tablespoons, which I'm going to bring up to a pretty hard simmer over medium-high heat. Once the water is at a simmer, I'm going to start adding my butter, 1 tablespoon at a time, and whisking it in until it melts. The first one is always the hardest one. Then I'll just keep adding them, 1 tablespoon at a time, whisking it in until it's emulsified. There's my final piece of butter. Once 8 tablespoons are in, we're going to do a little spoon test here just to show you. This is essentially the thickness of gravy. Now I'm going to add a couple extra ingredients, starting with a teaspoon of orange zest. Whisk that in. And then I'm going to bring a little bit of heat with some Scotch bonnet sauce. Whisk that in. And then, because it's not going to take very long for my scallops to cook, I'm going to turn the heat down on this all the way to off. One more stir, and then we prep the scallops. Into my cast iron pan, I'm pouring some avocado oil, which I'll then heat up to medium-high. Give this a little swirl to coat the bottom of the pan, and then add my scallops. These will only take a couple of minutes per side. Give my sauce another whisk. You can see it's a little more orange. I added some more Scotch bonnet sauce to it. And then I'm going to flip over my scallops. You'll notice the ones in the center have got a little bit better sear on them, so I'm going to scooch all these inward a little bit to try and make sure they're all cooked evenly. And then, after a couple more minutes on the second side, it's time to plate these up. My mouth is watering. Yum. Now it's time to do the medallions of filet tenderloin. And you'll see in this version, I kind of change up my sauce a little bit. Now you can use a lot of different things other than water. It may change the name though of the sauce. For instance, if you used white wine, then it would be Beurre Blanc. Instead of water for this sauce, I'm using the broth from reconstituting some gourmet mushrooms. Once again though, I am going to use 3 tablespoons. I want to make sure I don't get any chunks of mushroom in there. Bring it up to a hard simmer, and then start adding my butter. Just like last time, 1 piece at a time until I've done the full 8 tablespoons. Then I'm going to turn the heat down to low because it's going to take my tenderloin a little bit longer to cook than those scallops. Get that last piece stirred in. And this time, I'm going to add some of this truffle Parmesan black garlic seasoning. You can find this at Costco. Shake some of that in. Give it a whisk. And once again, the spoon test. Looking great. How's it taste? Good stuff. Now that we've got our cast iron ripping hot, I'm going to add my little medallions of beef tenderloin. Try and get a nice sear on these. I cooked these medium rare, sous vide initially. And I'm going to add another tablespoon of butter because, well, why not? Give my sauce another stir. And then let's see how the sear is looking on these. I would say pretty fantastic. So I'm going to give these about 2 more minutes on the other side and then plate them up. If your mouth isn't watering right now, there's something very wrong going on. That is so, so good.
I'm excited. I love mushrooms. Butter and mushrooms. Good stuff. Thanks, dear. Quite the winner.
Now, if you want to make more sauce than what I made, it's also super duper easy. All you got to do is just keep whisking in more butter. Thomas Keller of the French Laundry restaurant says they make 20 pounds at a time, and they will just hold it for the entire day or evening, the entire serving period. All you need to do is just keep the heat low and consistent if you're not serving it right away. It's very important not to go over 190 degrees. In fact, I would probably say maybe stay under 180 if you can, just to be safe. Otherwise, what will happen is the emulsion will break. The great thing about Beurre Monté is that if it does break, you wind up with something also really great. Clarified butter. So here, I'm going to intentionally let my Beurre Monté break. I've made the basic Beurre Monté right here, just water and butter. And to that, I'm going to add, once again, this truffle seasoning. I really, really love this stuff. Whisk that in. And once again, the spoon test. Perfect. But now I'm going to try and screw this sauce up by bringing up the heat. Right now we're probably at about 160. At 190 Fahrenheit, the emulsion will break. You can see right now the oil is kind of separated from the milk solids. And if I take a temperature reading, yep, 190, give or take, depending on where I'm poking the thermometer. And after another minute or two, you can see that it has clearly separated. So now we're going to salvage this by making clarified butter. I'm going to pour my broken sauce through a fine mesh strainer into this measuring cup. The slower you go, the better. The less likely you're going to get some of those milk solids going through the strainer. I'm going to get some, but that's okay because this is a 2-part process. Once I've poured all of this in, I will take a second measuring cup along with a coffee filter and get some perfectly clarified butter. There you go. You can see it running through, nice and clear. In the end, I wound up using 2 coffee filters because I had a fair amount of milk solids in there. And my yield was about 6 tablespoons, so I lost a little bit of butter in the process. But look at the color and clarity on that. And now, a taste test. It's subtle and it gets you at the end, but you totally get the Parmesan, the truffle, the black garlic. This would be great with seafood. Boy, I think on anything. Steak, eggs. And I have never made such a clear, clarified butter. Something to be aware of, if you do make beurre monte and you make too much and you refrigerate it, it will lose its emulsion. You can either then use it as melted butter, or you can do what I just did and create your own clarified butter. But I encourage you to play around with this technique. If you come up with any special ingredient or ingredient combinations in your beurre monte, please let me know down in the comments below. This is such an easy sauce to make, and it's gonna blow some minds. People are gonna think you are an absolute gourmet. So have fun, play around with this recipe. If you enjoyed this video, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then hit the bell next to it to turn on all notifications. And if you really love this video, click that thanks button. Buy me some more butter. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.